I have created a Portuguese Empire League system in FootballManager, featuring 112 clubs across 4 continents. Simulating 50 seasons into the future, can anyone stop the Portuguese Big Three and be crowned champions of the Empire? Hey, how's it going, and welcome to another Super League video. And up in today's video, I have created a Portuguese Empire League system. Following off my last video, my last Super League video that is, I created the Spanish Empire that time round. I've created their fierce rivals this time in the Portuguese Empire. We've got 112 clubs in total across 4 continents here today, across 4 divisions as well. I've taken over the Portuguese league system for the sake of this video, seeing as the Portuguese Empire originates from Portugal, of course. And the 2 countries you first think of when you think of the Portuguese Empire are, of course, Portugal and Brazil. We've actually got 19 other countries on show here today. Some of them, though, are not the entire country, so not every club is applicable from that country. Mainly the coastal cities that the Portuguese Empire ruled at one time or another. So we've got the Portuguese Empire Super League, which has taken over the Portuguese Primeira Liga, of course. Then we have the Portuguese Empire First League. Then we have the Second League, which is split into 2 leagues, as you can see here, the A and the B League. And then finally, we've got the Third League, which is the 4th tier. And we've actually got 56 teams in the 4th tier. 14 in each division across 4 divisions, A, B, C, and D. So if you're new to my Super League videos, every single club here is sorted by reputation. So the top 18 clubs in reputation are here in the Super League, followed by the next 18, etc. And also I'll go forward 50 seasons into the future to see which club will win the most trophies in total. At the end, they will be crowned as the champions of the Portuguese Empire. So first of all, let's look at the Super League. We've actually got 18 teams in the Super League. We've got 4 from Portugal. We've actually got 14 from Brazil. The 4 teams from Portugal, well, they can easily be guessed. We've got Benfica in here, Braga, of course, FC Porto and Sporting Lisbon. Then we've got 14 clubs from Brazil. The most notable clubs in here from Brazil include Atlético Mineiro. We've also got Botafogo in here, Corinthians, Flamengo, Fluminense, Grêmio Internacional, Palmeiras as well, Sao Paulo, Santos, and Vasco da Gama as well. So a lot of Brazilian teams on show here in the Super League. Only 4 from Portugal, but those 4 from Portugal are very big clubs, especially the so-called Big Three in Benfica, Porto, and Sporting Lisbon. Going down into the First League, the 2nd tier, we've got, again, a lot of Brazilian clubs and Portuguese clubs in here, but we've also got 2 clubs from Uruguay here in the First League. Uruguay, more commonly associated with the Spanish Empire, of course, but they were for a fair few years a part of the Portuguese Empire as well in the research I've done. And apparently the research I've done, Montevideo, which is the capital of Uruguay, was actually founded by the Portuguese. Quickly taken over by the Spanish though, but they are featuring here today as well. I believe the Portuguese Empire, along with parts of Brazil as well, which were almost independent at the time, ruled Uruguay for about 5 or 10 years in the 19th century. So not as famous in the Portuguese Empire as they were in the Spanish Empire, Uruguay, but they are featured in this video nonetheless. That is the only other nation from South America on show here today. I believe, or from my research, a part of Venezuela was considered part of the Portuguese Empire as well, but I actually couldn't find a professional club from that region, so that is why they're not featuring here today. So in the First League, as I said, lots of Brazilian clubs, also a few from Portugal as well, such as Boa Vista in here, also Forense as well, Gil Vicente, but as I said, those 2 big Uruguayan clubs, Nacional and Penarol as well. Down into the Second League, the 3rd tier, well actually the 10 clubs in the Second League A are all Portuguese, I believe. As I said, it's no bias here, all sorted by reputation, so that's just how it's worked out in the A League here. In the B League though, a little bit more diverse. We've got a couple of Brazilian teams in here, such as Avaí, Chapecoense, CRB as well, and Guarani. Also got a few more Portuguese teams such as Maritimo and Nacional de Madeira. But also we've got a couple of Moroccan teams here in the B League. You've got Raja Casablanca and Wydad Casablanca as well. Into the 3rd League, the 4th tier, this is when it starts to get really diverse. Obviously, I've only mentioned 4 nations so far, I believe. Portugal, Brazil, Uruguay and Morocco. But there's 17 more nations on show. I can't remember which nations on the top of my head. But here in the 3rd League A, we've got Benfica GNB, which is actually the Benfica from Guinea-Bissau. We've got Colombo here from Sri Lanka. We've also got Muscat from Oman as well. We've got Kerala from India. Nagasaki, the only Japanese team featuring here today. They're in the A League there. In the B League, got Abahani KC, CTG, which I think stands for Chittagong, which I'm pretty sure was Sri Lanka, or maybe it was Bangladesh. I forgot now, to be honest. We've also got Chennai in here, another Indian port city, which Portuguese Empire ruled for one time or another. We've also got Emirates in here, which is the only team from UAE. Liverpool FC are a team from Uruguay. Lusitania Lirosa, I'm pretty sure they're from Angola, I believe. Mahadak, Mahadak are actually a Bahrainian team from Bahrain. We've also got Portos de Bissau, again from Guinea-Bissau as well. In the third League C, we've got our first team from Macau, which is a city-state, basically, in China, which is actually the most densely populated city-state in the world, I believe. And that's Benfica, and they're from Macau, as you see there, Benfica MAC. Defensa Sporting are another team from Uruguay in here. MC Torque, another team from Uruguay. Got Mumbai in here from India as well. Plaza Colonia are another team from Uruguay. One thing that was for certain was the city that Plaza Colonia is from used to be part of the Portuguese Empire, the Colonia del Sacramento. So that is a definite official city that's part of the Portuguese Empire. Montevideo, the capital of Uruguay, a little bit more up to debate, but as I said in my research, it counted that Montevideo was part of the Portuguese Empire for a handful of years. That is why the other teams are featuring from Uruguay here today. And in the D League, you've also got teams such as Goa from India as well. Petra Luanda are the biggest club from Angola, I believe. And also you can see there Sporting Bissau, also from Guinea-Bissau. So we've got Sporting, Benfica and Porto, all from Guinea-Bissau here in the fourth tier as well. So a lot of teams in the fourth tier. Obviously, most of them won't make too much of an impact in terms of the trophy haul in the video. But who knows, some of these teams might make it up to the Super League at some point or another in the future. In the second league as well, not expecting too much from these teams. Obviously, a lot of these are lower ranked Portuguese teams and lower ranked Brazilian teams as well. Of course, we're focusing on the first league and the Super League as well. But if we're looking at the big boys here, we're looking at the Super League. We're looking at the big Portuguese clubs, Porto, Benfica and Sporting Lisbon. But also the big Brazilian clubs as well, such as Flamengo, Fluminense, Palmeiras and even Sao Paulo as well. Along with the four divisions we've got here, we've also got a Portuguese Empire Cup, Portuguese Empire League Cup, and a Portuguese Empire Super Cup as well. So a lot of trophies to look forward to. Of course, we're looking forward to the European competitions as well, the Champions League, the Europa League and the Europa Conference League. Also, if you're interested in downloading this database for yourself and playing with any of the 112 clubs in the Portuguese Empire, there'll be a link down in the description below where you can follow the link, download it and play with any club you like. So before we actually get started with the video, let's look at the reputation list of the teams here. We've got one 4.5-star worldwide reputation team, and that is Porto, who topped the list at the start of the video here. Closely followed by Benfica, though, only with a 4-star continental reputation, though. We've actually got a fair few teams with a 4-star reputation, including Flamengo, Palmeiras, Atlético Mineiro, Fluminense, Corinthians, and Sao Paulo, all from Brazil. So the top 2 clubs are from Portugal, but the next 9 are all from Brazil. I don't quite understand why Sporting Lisbon are so low down in terms of reputation. To give Sporting Lisbon a 3.5-star reputation, a whole 1-star below Porto, is underrating them a little bit, I'd say, to be honest. So I don't quite understand that one, but they're still up here in the Super League, of course, as are Braga, just about. The biggest teams actually outside of Portugal and Brazil are Nacional from Uruguay, who have got a 3-star reputation there. So without further ado, let's go forward now to 5 seasons into the future. Which club will dominate the early stages? Well, 5 seasons played and already a bit of change in terms of the reputation list here, because Porto have been knocked off the top by Benfica. Benfica now have that 4.5-star worldwide reputation, where Porto have declined to only be a 4-star reputation team now. They're joined on 4 stars though with Flamengo, Palmeiras, Fluminense, Sao Paulo, all from Brazil, and Sporting Lisbon from Portugal as well. So Sporting Lisbon have increased their reputation over the last 5 seasons. Also Braga have climbed up quite nicely as well. And the biggest team outside of Portugal and Brazil are actually Penarol now after 5 seasons, the other big team from Uruguay. So they are still not much headway made from the other teams, from the other nations here in the video. Still all about Portugal and Brazil, but there's still 45 seasons left to go. Well, in terms of the Super League, it's been dominated by Benfica and Porto in the first 5 seasons here. Porto actually won the first ever Portuguese Empire Super League title, but Benfica then made it 3 in a row for them from 2025 to 2027. But Porto are the latest champions, winning it in 2028. And if we look at this latest league table here, Porto are actually quite dominant this season. They won it by 13 points clear of Benfica, and Sporting Lisbon in third place as well. So the big three from Portugal in first, second and third place. The next two clubs are both Brazilian though, Sao Paulo and Palmeiras, and Braga in sixth place there. And in terms of relegated clubs from the fifth season, well, Moreirense from Portugal and Corinthians from Brazil relegated down to the first league. Into the first league, and the latest champions have been Gil Vicente from Portugal, and they've been promoted along with Atletico Paranaense from Brazil. Already got some big teams here down in the first league, such as Atlético Mineiro and Internacional as well, both Brazilian clubs. And we've actually only got one team outside of Portugal and Brazil in the first league, and that is Penarol, who finished in 13th place. Into the Portuguese Empire Cup, and the first ever winner of the cup was actually Sao Paulo, who won it in 2024. Internacional, who are in the first league now, they won it a year later, but the last three seasons have been won by the big three Portuguese teams. Sporting Lisbon won one, followed by Benfica, and then followed by Porto, who actually won a domestic double this season. Into the League Cup, and Porto won the first ever League Cup as well in 2024. They also won it in 2027. Flamengo won their first trophy in 2025. Benfica have won one, and the latest champions are Botafogo. And in the Super Cup, only 4 Super Cups played so far, but Porto have won one, Benfica have won 2, and the latest champions are Palmeiras. Talking of European football, and Benfica reached the Europa League final in 2025, but unfortunately they lost to Chelsea. Very early days here, of course, in the first 5 seasons, but Porto and Benfica are definitely on top in terms of the trophy count, especially in the Super League. In the other cups, the Cup and the League Cups, a few Brazilian teams have won a cup here and there, but it's all about Porto and Benfica here in the first 5 seasons. Will it be all about them after 10 seasons, though? Well, 10 seasons played now and still no change in terms of the reputation. Benfica maintain their 4.5-star worldwide reputation here at the top of the list. Porto in second place still with 4-star, along with Sporting Lisbon as well. We've also got 3 more teams from Brazil here with a 4-star reputation, including Flamengo, Palmeiras and Sao Paulo as well. Wow, also the biggest club outside of Brazil and Portugal are actually Wydad Casablanca now from Morocco, and the second biggest outside these countries is their fierce rivals Raja Casablanca. So both Moroccan teams here featuring today are doing very well in the first 10 seasons. Well, in the Super League, it's still all about the Portuguese teams, and 2 in particular, because Benfica have won 3 more Super League titles. Porto have won 1 more in 2031, but the latest champions with their first Portuguese Empire Super League title are Sporting Lisbon, who won it in 2033. So the first 10 seasons, Benfica have won 6, Porto have won 3, and Sporting have won 1. Not that Sporting Lisbon won it by quite a convincing point tally this season though. Only 66 points and only 10 points separating first place Sporting Lisbon and 8th place Braga. So much more tighter these days. The Portuguese league system, as in real life, is just always about those top 4 clubs especially. Not really much challenges after that point, to be honest. But here in the Portuguese Empire, there's plenty of challenges. Palmeiras finished in second place this season, only 2 points behind Sporting. Fluminense and Cruzeiro in 4th and 5th place, and Flamengo in 6th place as well. Also, Wydad Casablanca, the biggest team outside of Portugal and Brazil, actually finished in the top half this season in 9th position. And in terms of relegated clubs, well, Guimarães have been relegated to the first league, and Penarol finished bottom of the league with just 11 points. Into the first league, and the latest champions have been Vasco da Gama, who won the league title and have been promoted along with Raja Casablanca. So next season we have 2 Moroccan teams in the Super League, which is nice to see. Wow, we've also got a lot of Brazilian teams in here, a lot of big Brazilian teams here in the first league, such as Internacional, Atlético Mineiro, Santos and Grêmio, both in 11th and 12th place as well. So they're not doing very well in these early stages here. Into the Cup, and Porto actually made it back-to-back Cups in 2029. Fluminense won it in 2030, followed by Sporting Lisbon, then Benfica, and the latest champions are Flamengo. Into the League Cup, and Flamengo also won the League Cup in 2029, followed by Benfica, then Sporting Lisbon, then Porto, and the latest champions are Palmeiras. In the Super Cup though, it's all about the Portuguese teams at the minute, because the last 5 winners have been the big 3 Portuguese clubs. Porto have won 1, Benfica have won 3, and Sporting Lisbon have won 1 as well. Well, we have our first Brazilian to reach a European final, and that is Palmeiras. They reached the Europa League final in 2033, but unfortunately, they lost to Villarreal in the final. We actually have our first ever South American winner of a European trophy, though, in the Europa Conference League. Sao Paulo won the Europa Conference League in 2032, beating Vitesse in the final. Well, after 10 seasons, it's all about the Portuguese clubs at the moment. Sporting Lisbon are in third place with 5 trophies so far. In second place, we have Porto with 10 trophies. But in first place are Benfica with 15 trophies in the first 10 seasons. Going forward now to 15 seasons, can we see a Brazilian club lift the Super League for the first time? 15 seasons played and we see the Brazilian team at top in terms of the reputation for the first time in the video. We no longer have a 4.5-star worldwide reputation club as well, because Benfica have declined in the last 5 seasons. The biggest club actually in the Portuguese Empire at the moment are Flamengo, with that 4-star reputation, but they're joined on 4 stars with Benfica, Porto, Sporting Lisbon, Palmeiras and Botafogo. And in terms of the biggest club outside of Brazil and Portugal, that still goes to Wydad Casablanca with that 3-star reputation. Well, in the Super League, and the Brazilian clubs have arrived. The last 3 winners have all been Brazilian clubs. Sporting Lisbon, though, made it back-to-back Super Leagues in 2034, followed by Porto in 2035. But Botafogo have won 2 of the last 3 Super League titles, and Flamengo also won their first in 2037. So the Brazilian clubs have officially arrived here in the video, which is nice to see. Obviously, they've won a few cups already, a lot of teams, but they're yet to win a Super League title until the last 3 seasons. Also, the league has cracked the top 5 biggest leagues in Europe now, which is nice, overtaking the Ligue 1 from France. Now, we actually look at the latest league table here. The top 3 clubs are all Brazilian. Botafogo finishes champions, Palmeiras in second, and Flamengo in third place, and Sporting Lisbon in 4th. Benfica only making 5th place, and Porto way down in 7th place there, just 1 point above Wydad Casablanca from Morocco. And in terms of relegated clubs, well, Atletico Paranaense from Brazil have been relegated, and Nacional from Uruguay have been relegated as well. Into the first league, and the latest champions have been Marítimo, and been promoted along with Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo got relegated to the first league, which is kind of surprising. But also, as I said, many big Brazilian clubs in here, such as Santos in here still. Also Vasco as well. In terms of relegated clubs, well, Penarol, who were in the Super League not too long ago, have been relegated to the 3rd tier now, along with Famalicão and the Sporting Lisbon B team. Into the Cup, and Cruzeiro won the Cup in 2034, followed by back-to-back Cups for Botafogo in 2035 and 36, but Porto winning back-to-back Cups in 37 and 38. Into the League Cup, and Porto have won 2 more League Cups, Sporting have won 1 more, so have Flamengo, and so have Benfica. In the Super Cup, and Sporting Lisbon made back-to-back Super Cups in 34 and 35, followed by back-to-back Super Cups for Botafogo, and the latest champions are FC Porto. In the Europa League, and we have our first ever Brazilian winner of the Europa League, and it is Flamengo. They beat Athletic Bilbao in the 2037 final. Porto also lost the final, though, to Valencia just 2 seasons before. In the Europa Conference League, we actually had back-to-back winners from Brazil in the Europa Conference League. Cruzeiro beat Brighton in the 37 final, then Bahia, well, I don't even think are in the Super League, beat Nice in the Europa Conference League final in 2038. Also, Cruzeiro lost the Europa Conference League final to Brighton in 2034. Also, Bahia must be in the Super League. Don't know what on earth I'm talking about there. 20 seasons played now. We have a new team on top in terms of reputation, and it is Botafogo. Actually, we've got a top 3 Brazilian clubs now, which are Botafogo, Flamengo and Palmeiras. And then we're following them. We had the big 3 Portuguese clubs, Porto, Benfica and Sporting Lisbon. So it's mainly about Brazilian clubs at the moment, because they've overtaken the big 3 from Portugal, albeit though all 6 of these teams have the same 4-star continental reputation, but Botafogo are officially the biggest club in the Portuguese Empire at the moment. The biggest club outside of these 2 countries are Wydad Casablanca still. They've actually got a 3.5-star reputation now, so they are holding their own very nicely in the Super League. Talking of the Super League, we have a Brazilian domination on our hands at the moment, because the last 8 winners have all been Brazilian clubs. Flamengo actually won back-to-back Super Leagues in 39 and 40, followed by back-to-back Super Leagues for Botafogo, and then Palmeiras won their first ever Super League title in 2043. As you see here, in the last 8 seasons, Botafogo have won 4 Super League titles, and Flamengo have won 3 as well. But now we have our 3rd Brazilian winner of the Super League in Palmeiras. And we look at this latest league table here. Palmeiras finished top of the league, 8 points clear of Sporting Lisbon in 2nd place. Flamengo and Cruzeiro in 3rd and 4th place. Benfica only good enough to be 5th place. And Porto can't even qualify for a European competition these days. Wydad Casablanca can though, because they finished 7th in the league. And surely that is the first time a Moroccan team are featuring in a European competition. We also had a Uruguayan club in the Super League this season, but they've been relegated unfortunately. That is MC Torque which stands for Montevideo City Torque, and they've been relegated along with Pacos Ferreira as well. Into the first league, and the latest champions have actually been a Portuguese team, AC Viseu. They've been promoted along with another Portuguese team in Liria as well, just above Nacional from Uruguay in third place there. Also, Sao Paulo are still here in the first league as well. Atlético Mineiro not doing very well at all, 12th position here in the first league. Same with Santos. Vitória Guimarães are not doing very well either. But Petro Luanda are doing very well. They finished 11th place in the league this season in the first league. They are the biggest club from Angola. Into the cup, and Palmeiras won the cup in 2039, followed by Sporting Lisbon, then Porto, and the latest two winners have been Botafogo and Flamengo. Into the League Cup, and Sporting Lisbon have won 2 more League Cups, Botafogo have won 2, and Flamengo have won 1. And in the Super Cup, it's all about Botafogo and Flamengo at the moment, because Botafogo have won 3 more Super Cups and Flamengo have won 2 more Super Cups. Well, in the Europa League, we actually had 3 finalists in a row, but unfortunately, they all lost the Europa League final. Porto lost the 2039 final to Tottenham, and then Palmeiras lost back-to-back Europa League finals to Newcastle in 2040 and Fiorentina in 2041. Well, Cruzeiro love the Europa Conference League, it seems, so they reached their 3rd final, and they actually won their 2nd Europa Conference League in 3 seasons, beating Standard from Belgium in the 2039 final. Before we go any further with this video though, guys, please remember that if you do like the video, hit that like button for me. It's very important for the video's success. And also, if you want to see more Super League videos, do hit that subscribe button as well. It'd really help me out and it's much appreciated. So we have another new team at top in terms of reputation. Again, it's a Brazilian club though, and it is Cruzeiro this time who stand top of the list with that 4-star continental reputation. We have got 16 still with a 4-star reputation though, which include Cruzeiro, Palmeiras, Botafogo, Flamengo, then Benfica, and Sporting Lisbon have a 4-star reputation but only good enough to be national, and Porto now only have a 3.5-star reputation. Wydad Casablanca are still the biggest club outside of Portugal and Brazil with a 3.5-star reputation. And in terms of the Super League, it still keeps being won by Brazilian clubs. The last 12 winners have all been Brazilian clubs, I believe. The last time a Portuguese club won it, or someone outside of Brazil, was Porto in 2035. So the Brazilian clubs are firmly on top at the moment. A little bit surprising, to be honest, how much Porto, Benfica and Sporting have fallen down in the league system. Palmeiras actually made it back-to-back Super Leagues in 2044. Then Flamengo won it again in 45, but Cruzeiro have won 2 of the last 3 Super League titles. Botafogo have also won 1 more as well. In this latest league table, Cruzeiro only just won the league title, 1 point clear of Palmeiras. Porto back in the Champions League though, finishing 3rd in the league this season. Sporting and Benfica only good enough to be in 5th and 6th place. And Wydad Casablanca in 7th place there. Also, Petro Luanda from Angola up in the Super League now. And they actually finished 10th in the league this season, which is very nice from them. And also, MC Torque from Uruguay finished in 11th place. In terms of relegated clubs though, well, Grêmio, Fluminense and Firenze have all been relegated to the First League. Talking of the First League, the latest champions are Estoril. They've been promoted along with 2 other Portuguese clubs in Pacos Ferreira and Braga as well. Braga down here in the First League, back in the Super League now though, along with Pacos Ferreira and Estoril of course. Also Corinthians down here in the First League still as well. And in terms of relegated clubs, well, Plaza Colonia from Uruguay and Marítimo from Portugal have been relegated to the 3rd tier. Into the Cup, and Flamengo made it back-to-back Cups in 2044. Cruzeiro won the next Cup in 45. Sporting Lisbon won back-to-back Cups in 46 and 47, but the latest champions are Botafogo. In the League Cup, and Benfica won that in 2044, followed by Sporting Lisbon, then Palmeiras, Cruzeiro and Botafogo with a Cup double this season. And in the Super Cup, back-to-back wins for Flamengo, followed by back-to-back wins for Cruzeiro, and Sporting Lisbon are the latest champions. We've had another winner in the Europa League, and it is Cruzeiro. Cruzeiro love a European night, it seems. They won the 2046 Europa League, beating Sevilla in the final. Also, Porto reached the final in 2048, but they lost that final to Roma. Wow, into the Europa Conference League, and we have our first ever African winner of a European competition, and it was, of course, Wydad Casablanca, who won the Europa Conference League in 2046, beating RC Lens in the final. The following season, Porto won the Europa Conference League, beating Flamengo in the final. Well, at the halfway point here, it's definitely heating up in terms of the trophy race. The top 5 clubs, only 2 trophies, separating the top 5 clubs at the moment. In joint 4th place, we have Flamengo and Sporting Lisbon, both with 16 trophies. In 3rd place, we have Benfica with 17 trophies. But in joint first place, we have Porto and Botafogo, both with 18 trophies. So I think it's safe to say this Portuguese Big Three has been thrown out the window. They're still in the top 5 of these 3 Portuguese teams, but as you can see from the past winners there, it's all about the Brazilian clubs at the moment, and Botafogo and Flamengo especially are rivaling these 3 Portuguese clubs. Will the Brazilian clubs still be on top after 30 seasons? Well, again, we have a different team at top of the reputation list after 30 seasons here, and it is Palmeiras with a 4-star continental reputation, but they're joined with 6 other clubs here with 4 stars in Cruzeiro, Botafogo, Flamengo, then Porto, Sporting Lisbon and Benfica. We have a new team who are the biggest outside of Portugal and Brazil, and it is MC Torque from Uruguay with a 3-star reputation. Unfortunately, Wydad Casablanca have finally declined. They've actually been relegated to the First League as well. Into the Super League, though, it seems like we have a new dominant force, and that is Palmeiras. Palmeiras have actually won 4 of the last 5 Super League titles. Porto are back to winning ways for the Portuguese clubs in the Super League, but not making too much of a dent. They won it in 2051, but Palmeiras won back-to-back titles before them and back-to-back titles after them. Wow, Palmeiras only just won the league title this season from goal difference above Cruzeiro in 2nd place there. Botafogo in 3rd place, and we've got Porto, Benfica, Flamengo and Sporting Lisbon making up the top 7 there. Braga back in the Super League and back in the top half of the Super League as well, so that's an improvement from them. And also MC Torque are the only team outside of Portugal and Brazil in the Super League here, but they did manage to survive relegation, finishing 14th in the league. Into the First League, and the latest champions have been Grêmio, and they have been promoted along with Wydad Casablanca back to the Super League, good for them. And in 3rd and 4th and 5th place, you have 3 more Brazilian clubs in Fluminense, Corinthians and Vasco da Gama. We've also got Nacional from Uruguay here in the First League, and Raja Casablanca from Morocco here in the First League as well. And in terms of relegated clubs, well, Petro Luanda, Rio Ave and Atlético Mineiro have been relegated to the 3rd tier. Wow, into the Cup, and that's all about Palmeiras as well, because they have won 4 of the last 5 Cups as well, including 3 in a row from 2049 to 2051. They've also won the latest Cup competition, and Botafogo also won it in 2052. Into the League Cup though, and that is all about Botafogo, because they have actually won the last 3 League Cups in a row. Porto won another League Cup in 2049 and Palmeiras in 2050. Into the Super Cup though, the Brazilian domination continues. Cruzeiro won 1 in 2049, followed by 3 in a row for Palmeiras, and Botafogo are the latest champions. In the Europa League, and Cruzeiro have done it again. They have won the Europa League for the 2nd time. I think that's their 4th European trophy already in the video, Cruzeiro. They beat Real Sociedad in the 2053 final. Also, Sporting Lisbon have reached 2 Europa League finals, but they lost both of them to Newcastle in 2049 and Sevilla in 2051. Into the Europa Conference League, and Benfica and Porto have both made Europa Conference League finals, but they both lost their final. Benfica lost to Rennes in 51 and Porto lost to Brighton in 53. Well, 30 seasons played, and I think it's safe to say that Palmeiras are firmly on top now. Can the Portuguese clubs get back to dominating the Portuguese Empire after 35 seasons? After 35 seasons, Palmeiras are still on top in terms of reputation, and we have a 4.5-star team back in the league system now and worldwide, as Palmeiras have increased their reputation over the last 5 seasons. We have 5 more teams below them with a continental 4-star reputation in Botafogo, Flamengo, Porto, Cruzeiro and Benfica, and Sporting Lisbon also have 4 stars but only a national reputation. And the biggest club outside of Brazil and Portugal are still MC Torque, who now have a 3.5-star reputation. Wow, in the Super League though, we have a Palmeiras domination. They have won 7 Super Leagues in a row, and they've also won 9 of the last 10 Super League titles. So Palmeiras are firmly dominating the Portuguese Empire at the moment. Also, the league has climbed to be the 4th biggest league in Europe now, above the Bundesliga, and it also climbed to be the 3rd biggest league in 2055, so the league is going very well at the moment. In this latest league table though, Palmeiras were dominant. They actually won the league with 89 points and only lost 1 game in the season, but also Botafogo in 2nd place only lost 1 game, 6 points behind Palmeiras, so a big jump to 3rd place Flamengo there, and the top 4 are all Brazilian clubs. Porto, Benfica and Braga, the 3 Portuguese teams in 5th to 7th place there, and Sporting Lisbon only good enough to be in 10th position in the league, and they've also finished below fellow Portuguese club Leiria, who finished in 8th position this season. Also, MC Torque, the only team outside of these 2 nations in the Super League, finishing in 11th place, and Pacos Ferreira and Corinthians have been relegated to the First League. In the First League, and the latest champions are actually Espinho, who are actually a Portuguese 5th tier team at the start of the video here. So they're doing very well indeed. They've been in the Super League already, I believe, so they're doing very well. They've been promoted along with Mafra as well, also from Portugal, I believe. Yeah, Mafra are a Portuguese team there, finishing in 2nd place, been promoted along with Espinho. Also, in terms of relegated clubs, Boa Vista, Salgueiros and RB Bragantino have been relegated to the 2nd League. And also Nacional, Wydad Casablanca and Raja Casablanca are the 3 other teams outside of Portugal and Brazil in the First League. Into the cup, and it's still being dominated by Brazilian clubs. Botafogo have won 3 more cups. Palmeiras won 1 in 2055, and the latest champions are Flamengo. Into the League Cup, and Porto won back-to-back League Cups in 54 and 55, but the last 3 winners have been Brazilian. Flamengo, followed by Cruzeiro and Palmeiras in the latest season. In the Super Cup, that as well has been dominated by Botafogo. They won 3 Super Cups in a row in 55 to 57. Flamengo won 1 in 54, and Palmeiras are the latest champions. In the Europa League, and Porto have won a Europa League. They beat Real Sociedad in the latest Europa League final. And in the Europa Conference League, Sporting Lisbon won that in 54, beating Real Betis in the final. And also Cruzeiro lost the 2056 final to Stuttgart. Well, with 15 seasons left to go, the trophy race is still very, very much heating up. In 3rd place, we have Porto with 23 trophies. In 2nd place, we have Palmeiras with 26 trophies. But the top team at the moment with 29 trophies are Botafogo. But if Palmeiras continue this domination of the Super League, surely they'll be on top in terms of trophies won after 40 seasons. After 40 seasons, and Palmeiras are still on top in terms of reputation. They are the first team of the video to reach a 5-star worldwide reputation. So Palmeiras are not only dominating the empire at the moment, they're also one of the biggest clubs in the world now with a 5-star reputation. Just below them are Botafogo with a 4.5-star continental reputation. So these 2 are still on top, it seems. And below that point, we have 5 teams with a 4-star continental reputation. And they are Flamengo, Porto, Cruzeiro, Sporting Lisbon, and MC Torque from Uruguay. The first team outside of Portugal and Brazil to get a 4-star reputation in the video. And also, look at that. Espinho, who start off in the Portuguese 5th tier here, are now officially a bigger club than Benfica. So Benfica have been absolutely terrible in this video past about the 10th or 15th season. They haven't won a competition in a long time now, Benfica, and it looks like they aren't going to. Only a 3.5-star national reputation for Benfica these days, unfortunately. Well, in the Super League, Palmeiras actually made it 8 Super Leagues won in a row as they won it in 2059, but Botafogo finally stopped them, winning back-to-back Super Leagues in 60 and 61. But Palmeiras back to dominating the empire now, winning the last 2 Super Leagues in 62 and 63. If we look at this latest league table, Palmeiras finished with 84 points, 7 points clear of Flamengo in 2nd place, and there's a big gap to 3rd place Cruzeiro and Botafogo, both with 64 points, and Porto with 64 points as well, so a long way behind the leaders Palmeiras there. In 6th place, qualifying for the Europa League, are MC Torque from Uruguay. Nice to see that. Benfica only good enough to be 7th place, and Sporting Lisbon only good enough to be 8th place. In terms of relegated clubs, well, Wydad Casablanca made it back to the Super League, but unfortunately they've been relegated along with Grêmio and Mafra. Into the First League though, and Raja Casablanca have been promoted to the Super League, so we have still got a representative from Casablanca in the Super League, and Nacional from Uruguay into the Super League for just the 2nd time, I believe, along with Liria as well. Also, we have Emirates in here, the only team from UAE of the video in the First League. I think for the first time, maybe they finished 10th position this season. And in terms of relegated clubs, well, Belenenses, Salgueiros and Internacional have been relegated to the 3rd tier. Into the cup, and Flamengo made it back-to-back cups in 2059. Palmeiras won 2 of the next 3 in 60 and 62. MC Torque have won their first competition of the video, the first Uruguayan club to win a domestic trophy. They won the cup in 2061, and the latest champions are Botafogo. In the League Cup, that is being dominated by Palmeiras at the moment. They won 4 out of 5 League Cups in 58 to 60 and also 62 as well. Botafogo won it in 2061 and Porto won it in 2063. Into the Super Cup, and we have a common theme going on here because the Super Cup has again been dominated by Palmeiras and Botafogo. Palmeiras made it 3 Super Cups in a row in 2060. Botafogo won back-to-back, and then Palmeiras are the latest winners of the competition. Well, I never thought I'd see the day when a Brazilian club would win the Champions League, but they have. Palmeiras not only won the Champions League, they actually won back-to-back Champions Leagues in the last 2 seasons, in 2062 and 2063, beating Barcelona in their first final and Arsenal in the second final. So not only are Palmeiras the biggest club in the Empire, they potentially could be the biggest club in the world. In the Europa League, we had a couple of Brazilian finalists. Flamengo lost the 2060 final to Atletico Madrid, and Botafogo lost the 2063 final also to Atletico Madrid. Well, not only are Palmeiras the biggest club in the Empire, they are now actually the 3rd biggest team in the world, just below Chelsea and Liverpool. To be honest, I'm quite surprised they're ranked 3rd since they won back-to-back Champions League titles. But anyway, the 3rd biggest club are a Brazilian club in the world, and they are Palmeiras. They are doing magnificent things at the moment. Can they be stopped in this video? Well, with only 10 seasons left to go, in my opinion, it looks like there's only going to be 2 teams who can win the most trophies of the video, and they are both Brazilian clubs, and we know what clubs they are. In 3rd place, though, are Porto with 25 trophies, but in 2nd place, we have Botafogo now with 35 trophies. But in top position now, unsurprisingly, are back-to-back Champions League winners Palmeiras, who have won 40 trophies in 40 seasons. I can't see Porto stopping one of these 2 Brazilian clubs, and to be honest, the only team that looks like they can stop Palmeiras are Botafogo. Let's go forward now to the 45 seasons. Will Palmeiras continue to dominate the Empire? Wow, in the last 5 seasons, the league has really climbed up, it seems, because now we've got still Palmeiras, that 5-star worldwide reputation, but we've actually got 5 teams below them with a 4.5-star worldwide reputation as well. They include Botafogo, Flamengo, Porto, Cruzeiro, and MC Torque. Look at MC Torque going. They've done magnificent things in this video, MC Torque. They're probably, I think they're even like the 5th biggest team or 4th biggest team from the city of Montevideo itself. So they are doing amazing things here in this video. But Palmeiras still on top, still with that 5-star reputation. So they are still going very strong. But the next 5 teams are going very strong themselves. After that point, we have Sporting Lisbon and Benfica, the 2 teams with a 4-star continental reputation. Well, let's give them the award now, because Palmeiras back to completely dominating the Super League. They have won 7 Super Leagues in a row now, and I can't see how they've been stopped, to be honest. Botafogo are cup specialists, it has to be said, but I don't even think Botafogo can stop this. Look at Palmeiras dominating the league system here. Oh my word. Palmeiras have actually won 17 of the last 20 Super League titles. Porto have won 1 in that time, and Botafogo 2. So yeah, Palmeiras, what a team they've turned out to be in the last 20 seasons or so. In the league table, Palmeiras finished 11 points clear of Flamengo in 2nd place there, Botafogo in 3rd place, Porto in 4th, then we have MC Torque in 5th place as well, qualifying for the Champions League, MC Torque, so they are one hell of a team these days as well. And look at the state of this. Benfica down in 9th position and Sporting Lisbon down in 10th position as well. So these 2 have really fallen off a cliff in the last few seasons. Porto are still holding their own quite well, albeit they're not really winning too many competitions, but at least they're still a respectable team here, still with a 4.5-star reputation as well. Also good news, we've got another Uruguayan team in the Super League in Nacional. They finished in 12th position this season, and also both Moroccan teams were in the Super League this season. Wydad Casablanca survived relegation, but unfortunately Raja Casablanca have been relegated, along with Penafiel as well. In the first league, and the latest champions are Atletico Paranaense, and they've been promoted along with Espinho as well. And also look at Juventude Evora, also another team who started off in the Portuguese 5th tier, I believe, almost getting promoted to the Super League along with Espinho. Unfortunately, there are actually no teams outside of Portugal and Brazil in the first league here, but of course we've got a couple of Moroccan and a couple of Uruguayan teams in the Super League. In the Cup, and Palmeiras won the Cup in 2064. Botafogo have won 2 more Cups. Leiria, which is a nice story in itself. Leiria, one of the smaller Portuguese teams, won the Cup in 2066. And the latest champions are Flamengo. And also talking about the Cup is now officially the biggest Cup competition in Europe, overtaking the FA Cup in the last 3 seasons. In the League Cup, and Palmeiras and Botafogo have both won 2 more League Cups, but the latest champions are Porto, who won it in 2068. In the Super Cup, the Palmeiras and Botafogo theme continues, because Palmeiras have won 3 more and Botafogo have won 2 more. And actually, we have to go all the way back to 2054 to see a team other than these 2 clubs lift the Super Cup. Well, in the Champions League, and Palmeiras actually made it 3 Champions League finals in a row, but unfortunately they couldn't win 3 Champions League finals in a row because they lost to Villarreal in the 2064 final. In the Europa League, though, we have our first ever Uruguayan winner of a European competition, and it is, of course, MC Torque. They beat Atletico Madrid in the 2068 final. They also lost the 2065 final to Newcastle, and Porto lost the final before that to Tottenham. Well, with only 5 seasons left to go, in third place is still Porto with 26 trophies now. In second place, we have Botafogo with 41 trophies, but way out in first place now are Palmeiras, who have won 52 trophies. So I think it's safe to say that Porto and the rest of the clubs are out of the trophy race, and Botafogo are 11 trophies behind, so Botafogo need to have one hell of a last 5 seasons if they are to overtake Palmeiras. Let's go forward now to 50 seasons then. Can Botafogo win more trophies than Palmeiras? Wow, great story here at the end of the video, because we end off the video with 2 5-star World Reputation teams, and they are, of course, Palmeiras and Botafogo, the 2 biggest clubs of the video. Have Botafogo managed to take over Palmeiras, though? We shall see in a second. And we also have 4 more teams with a 4.5-star reputation, 2 worldwide in Flamengo and Cruzeiro, and 2 continental in MC Torque and Porto. So actually, the Portuguese nation itself represented here are actually only the third biggest of the video now, because MC Torque from Uruguay have overtaken all the Portuguese teams in terms of the reputation. We also have 4 teams with a 4-star continental reputation in Sporting Lisbon, Fortaleza from Brazil, Benfica, and Wydad Casablanca. Also, Raja Casablanca just below them as well. So the Moroccan teams certainly made a dent in the video as well. Of course, Wydad Casablanca won the European competition early on in the video, but MC Torque taking it to a different level from Uruguay here. 5th biggest team that end off the video. Well, in the Super League, and Palmeiras managed to win 2 more Super Leagues in a row, which took them to 9 Super Leagues in a row in the end. They also won 1 more in 2072, but Botafogo won 2 of the last 3 Super League titles. Also, the league ends off the video as the 4th biggest league in Europe, being as high as the 3rd biggest at one point. The last ever league table, and the top 7 clubs are South American clubs. Botafogo won the championship, of course. Palmeiras in 2nd place. Then we have Flamengo, Cruzeiro, and Atletico Mineiro climbed up very nicely, it has to be said. They were nowhere in the video for large portions of... I don't even think they were in the first league for large... They were in the first league for large portions of the video, also got relegated, so they ended off the video very strongly. MC Torque in 6th place from Uruguay, of course, and Fortaleza in 7th place from Brazil. And Benfica only got up to be 8th position, Porto 10th, and Sporting Lisbon 12th. We also have both Casablanca teams on show here in the Super League. Wydad Casablanca finishing in the top half to end off the video here, and Raja Casablanca finishing in 14th place. And in terms of relegated clubs, they're all Portuguese: Espinho, Chaves, and Pacos Ferreira. Well, into the First League, and the last ever champions of the First League were actually Atletico Paranaense from Brazil, and they got promoted along with 2 Portuguese teams in Estrela and Liria. Also, Braga end off the video here in the First League, along with Fluminense as well from Brazil, of course. Petro Luanda from Angola made it back to the First League, which is nice to see. The biggest African team. Not the biggest African team, because of course the 2 Moroccan teams are in the Super League, but the biggest team outside of North Africa, I shall say, in Petro Luanda. Also, Nacional end off the video in Uruguay, from Uruguay as well in the First League. And in terms of relegated teams, well, Santos and Grêmio both relegated to the 3rd tier, along with Trofense as well. Well, I did say Botafogo are cup specialists, and they actually won 3 of the last 4 Portuguese Empire Cups here. Flamengo made it back-to-back cups though in 2069, and Cruzeiro also won a cup in 2071. And also the cup does end the video as the biggest cup competition in Europe, above the FA Cup. So the Portuguese Empire Cup is a serious cup competition. In the League Cup, and Botafogo won 2 more. Also, Atletico Paranaense won a League Cup in 2017. I think that's their first major win of the video. They, of course, won the First League a few occasions, but never a cup competition, I don't believe. Flamengo also won 1 in 2072, and the last ever winners of the League Cup were Palmeiras. In the Super Cup, and the Brazilian domination continues in the Super Cup, Palmeiras won 3 more, Flamengo won 1 more in 2070, and Botafogo won it in 2072. Well, in total, Palmeiras actually reached 5 Champions League finals in the last 10 seasons as well. The last 12 seasons, I shall say, but Palmeiras unfortunately lost the last 3 Champions League finals. They lost back-to-back Champions League finals to Barcelona in 2071 and 2072. So that is gutting, but the fact that they reached 5 Champions League finals in the first place is absolutely amazing. They also won 2 Champions Leagues back-to-back, of course, but they lost 3 Champions League finals after that point. In the Europa League, an MC Torquay won it. 2 Europa League wins for them. They won the last ever Europa League title, beating PSV in the final. And also Flamengo reached the final, but it lost, unfortunately, to Tottenham in 2017. In the Europa Conference League, and Sporting Lisbon won that in 2073, the final season, beating Real Betis in the final. Well, I think we're safe to say we know who the top 2 teams are in terms of the trophies won. And before I count out the trophies, though, let's check out the records from the leagues themselves. And the most times winner of the Super League was Palmeiras. They won 22 Super Leagues in total. They also got the most points in a season, getting to 93 points in a 34 game season, which is quite crazy, in 2066. On the other side of the spectrum, though, most league defeats in a season went to Raja Casablanca with 27 defeats in a season. The biggest win went to Botafogo, who beat Fluminense 6-0 in 2040, and the highest scoring match was Sporting Lisbon versus Sao Paulo, where Sporting won 4-3. Most matches won in a row also went to Palmeiras, who won 17 games in a row in the 2061 season. Most matches lost in a row went to Raja Casablanca, who lost 13 games in a row. And most matches without losing also went to Palmeiras, who went 38 games unbeaten from 9th of March 2063 to 15th of March 2064. Also, most matches without winning actually went to Sao Paulo, who went 30 games without winning in the 2042 season. And most matches without conceding also went to Palmeiras with 8 games without conceding, and most matches without scoring went to Raja Casablanca with 11 games without scoring. In the First League, and the most times winner of the First League were actually Vasco da Gama from Brazil, who only won it 5 times. So no team won it more than 5 times, which is a little bit surprising, but Vasco da Gama do hold the most titles there. Also, fewest points in the season in the First League went to Sao Paulo, who got 9 points in the 2059 season. So Sao Paulo really did fall off a cliff. They won a couple of trophies in the early stages. I think they even won a European trophy, Sao Paulo. So yeah, terrible from them, that. Terrible. Fewest league wins of the season also went to a Brazilian club in Atlético Goianiense, who only won 1 game in the 2071 season. Also, Vasco hold the record for most matches won in a row with 12 in that 2032-33 season. Sao Paulo lost 14 games in a row in the 2059 season there. Maritimo had the longest unbeaten record with 21, and Sao Paulo actually went 29 games without winning in the 2059 season. In the second league, and the most times winner was actually Portimonense from Portugal, who won the second league on 3 times. Fewest points in the season, though, went to Juventus, who only got 2 points in the 2031 season, which is terrible. Most league wins in the season went to Santos, who also got relegated to the second league in 2045 with 24 wins. Most matches won in a row, they went to a Portuguese team in Estoril with 12 games in a row. Most matches lost in a row went to Chapecoense with 15 in a row. Santos went 26 games unbeaten, and Portimonense went 37 games without winning in the 2058 season, which is a little bit surprising, seeing as they're the most successful team from the second league. In the third league, and the most times winner of the third league was actually Lurenense, who I don't know who they are, so I'm guessing they're a Portuguese team. They must be. Fewest points of the season, though, went to Colombo from Sri Lanka, who unfortunately got 0 points in the first ever season. RB Bragantino, one of the biggest Brazilian teams, actually got relegated to the 4th tier, which is terrible. They won 27 league wins, though, in that 2055 season. Colombo not only didn't win a game in the first season, they also didn't draw a game either. So Colombo, I think it's safe to say, were a little bit out of their depth in the 4th tier. But yeah, nice to see them featured in the video anyway. Also, Belenenses went 47 games without losing a game in the 2059 to 2060 season. And most matches without winning went to Vitória from Brazil, who went 27 games without winning a game. Well, in the Portuguese Empire Cup, the most successful team were Botafogo. They won 14 cups in total, 5 more than Palmeiras in second place. In the League Cup, Botafogo were again the most successful, winning 12 League Cups in total. And in the Super Cup, we actually have a tie for the most trophies won in the Super Cup, and no surprises who, Palmeiras and Botafogo both won 14 Super Cups in total. Well, in European football, of course, there's only one team to mention in terms of the Champions League. The only team to reach a final were Palmeiras, and they actually reached 5 finals in total, winning back-to-back Champions Leagues in 62 and 63, and also losing 3 finals past that point as well. They also had a high of the 3rd biggest club in the world. So Palmeiras, the only team to do something in the Champions League. A little bit surprised to not see Botafogo at least reach one final. Well, the most successful teams in the Europa League were actually Cruzeiro from Brazil and MC Torque from Uruguay. They both won 2 Europa League titles in total. Of course, MC Torque won the final ever Europa League as well. And in the Europa Conference League, again, Cruzeiro won the most Europa Conference Leagues with 2, but joint with 2 with Sporting Lisbon. Also, Wydad Casablanca won a Europa Conference League as well, of course. So 4 nations won a competition at least in the video. Of course, Portugal and Brazil, but also Morocco and Uruguay as well. Well, that is the end of the video, guys. And in terms of the top 3, Porto finished off as the 3rd biggest club and the biggest Portuguese club with 26 trophies in total. In 2nd place, we have Botafogo, who won 49 trophies in total, but way out in 1st place with 60 trophies in 50 seasons are Palmeiras. Palmeiras were, well, amazing in the video. They won 2 Champions Leagues back-to-back. They also reached 5 Champions League finals in total. They also lost 3 Europa League finals as well. They won the UEFA Super Cup twice, and they also won a Club World Championship. So Palmeiras are the real deal in this video. Botafogo were very, very successful domestically. Unfortunately, they couldn't carry that form into European football. That is where the difference is between Palmeiras and Botafogo, because Botafogo were domestically very, very good, especially in the cup competitions. Flamengo, though, also had a great video here. They actually finished in 4th place, I believe. Cruzeiro were great in European football. They did very well. MC Torque, of course, won a couple of Europa Leagues towards the end of the video. They also won 1 cup competition as well, I believe. Benfica, well, the less we say about them, the better. I can't remember the last time they won a competition, but it was a long time ago, so they fell off a cliff really, really badly. Wydad Casablanca, the only team from Africa to win a competition in the video, winning the Europa Conference League, of course, 1 time. Unfortunately, they couldn't win a domestic trophy, but they did well nonetheless. Porto were the most successful Portuguese team. Sporting Lisbon, not quite as bad as their fierce rivals Benfica, but again, didn't do really too much in the video past the first 15-20 seasons or so. Raja Casablanca deserve a mention as well. Didn't win a trophy like their fierce rivals Wydad Casablanca, but they did spend a lot of time in the Super League as well. So that is the end of this video, guys. As I said, if you do want to play this database for yourself, there'll be a link down in the description below. All you have to do is download it and pick whatever team you like to take over in the Portuguese Empire League system. And please remember that if you do like the video, hit that like button for me. And also, if you're new around here and you want to see more videos from me, do hit that subscribe button as well. It'd really help me out and it's much appreciated. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.